Introduction. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, Proverbs 3:13, KJV. Everyone is excited about the high rate at which marriages are formed. Yet, baffling is the rate at which the same bliss crashes into regret. In an attempt to achieve marital success, watch out for the man, he is ever strong-minded. Introduction. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, Proverbs 3:13, KJV. Everyone is excited about the high rate at which marriages are formed. Yet, baffling is the rate at which the same bliss crashes into regret. Statistical figures continue to be staggering. Somehow, this is an unfortunate cycle with no end in sight. In the meantime, technological products aren't providing solutions at the speed of light, as expected. The population of experts on marital issues has become astronomical and far-reaching philosophies have been churned out. Yet, marriages continue to break up, emotions, shredded into devastation, and religious leaders are ever baffled despite regular and seemingly adequate effort. In an attempt to achieve marital success, watch out for the man, he is ever strong-minded. Small wonder he is annoyed when divorce becomes inevitable. In his thinking, women are ever impossible. In the same way, the woman, as she pushes through divine duties in Proverbs 31 verses 10 to 30, becomes physically and mentally exhausted, with devastation written all over her. In her thinking, what's the essence of this misery called marriage? To reverse this awful situation, what should be noteworthy is a marital idea that is scantily discussed by marital experts and often ignored by men. Cautiously, most religious leaders will stay reserved. Evidently, it is difficult to draw the line when teaching this necessary notion. Meanwhile, it is a notion with enormous scientific research facts supporting its usefulness. Since marriage counselors and other experts wouldn't dare, kindly let's say that it is embedded in Paul's divine and logical insight that says, "It is better to marry than to burn." 1 Corinthians 7:9 KJV. Benefits obtainable from sexual concept include crucial psychological relief, which will recurrently generate mental vitality for women, as it is in men, a massive ability to rekindle a glowing splint of love, as often as required, and matchless power to create optimal marital excitement. Therefore, to put it briefly, underlying characteristics to this marital concept will underscore the following as marital facts. The woman is the key to unlock marital success. The ability to ensure marital success is divinely installed in the woman. The man should lead by asking the woman to lead. A man may start the option that could lead to marital success, he does not have sufficient capacity with which to guarantee marital success. Orgasm, the divine remedy for stress. For adults, an absolutely free and divinely made remedy for stress, including that from marriage, is orgasms and not sex. Sex is only one popular route to orgasm. Unbelievably, this knowledge is scantily shared among married individuals. Feminine sexual preference. To achieve orgasm, the approach preferred by a woman must be properly considered. Often, the man believes he's always right. The woman, an amazing powerhouse. When she is recurrently made free of mental stress, the man will ever be in amazement of what a woman can accomplish, at any time and effortlessly. The third factor above is dominant, but this is what will complicate the man's situation. It is an idea that has been analyzed from several angles. However, a startling perspective to the concept is that an average woman would rather keep silent despite an almost overpowering concern when experience isn't recurrent, a fascination that's in no way lesser than the masculine craves. Worsening the situation is the fact that often, a man is not sure of what or how. Then, he'd turn himself into a heavy-duty machine. He's using an age-old approach that has remained a failure. So, long before now, men had concluded that there's a wide gap between them and the members of the opposite sex in terms of sexuality and sexual response in particular. Therefore, the view of most men is that women's sexual response isn't just considerable but sometimes pondered as excessive. It may then not be out of place to associate women's sexual passivity with several reasons, which might include overt intimidation from men, possibly, This is an action that's being used to shield shortfall in masculine sexuality. Meanwhile, both concealed and open attempt intended to bridge this gully have had the contribution of specialists from different fields of training, each one churning out several concepts. Then, it shouldn't be a surprise to find out that ancient medicine had been on the race for several centuries. The quest gave an upper hand to women, it focused on men as the gender that needed to improve. From as far back as 1889, modern medicine joined in with a giant stride. Then, Serge Voronov, a surgeon, injected himself under the skin with extracts from ground-up testicles of a dog and a guinea pig. Instantly following this action were several hundreds of medical transplantation experiments, each involving grafting of testicles from younger to older animals. In his conclusion, Voronov specified that the transplantations caused older animals to regain the vigor of younger ones in their sexual potency. Voronov issued this result in his book titled, Rejuvenation by Grafting, 1925. Further within the publication, he disclosed that human sex drive may be improved via this means. Voronov's disclosure was applauded by world's leading surgeons at the International Congress of Surgeons in London. Then, it was a giant breakthrough, an end to sexual anxiety that was secretly plaguing men in every cranny of human existence, they must have thought. Therefore, by early 1930s, thousands of men around the world had received this rejuvenation technique, wealthy men handsomely paid to access the medical procedure. A medical process that comprises the implantation of a thin slice of testicles sheared from chimpanzees and baboons, into the human scrotum. However, many of the patients who received the surgery and praised Voronov merely had euphoria that resulted solely from placebo effect. Subsequently, results from further research eventually exposed the inaccuracy in Voronov's work. Since then, over 123 years, men continued to search and improve on findings meant to correct this inadequacy in masculine sexual response. For this reason, colossal research effort has produced different varieties of products that could be directly ingested by men or applied by men on women, to pep up masculine sexuality. The technique or the product notwithstanding, what is clear is that the man must have a better sexual response. He should be able to cope with, and be able to give considerable sexual satisfaction to the woman and by implication, his marriage. As at today, it's easily visible that the number of people within research walls and the rate at which they work is ever on the rise. Keenly, they're pursuing sexual satisfaction for romantic relationships. This is an indication that the pursuit is yet to be over. It is observable that professional research societies are persistently interested in devising better means by which an average man could provide sexual satisfaction for his partner, and this is a welcome idea. In the meantime, it is unfortunate that many of the products presently available are planned to augment men's sexual performance rather than response. Erroneously, this line of thought must have been based on the presumption that masculine sexuality is inadequate. If we could explore social, cultural, and religious views to this issue, then it would easily be perceived that men, on the whole, would merely need to understand what to do in order to sexually satisfy women. There'd only be the need for the man to discern femininity just a little better, if sexual activities are to be carried out without the use of performance enhancement products and without the need to spend money baselessly. He'd need more awareness, if he wouldn't abdicate his sexual obligation to implements that are frequently rejected by women, using a delicate expression of an unflinching preference for the masculine tool. Up to now, there's an outlook that most people including research bodies are yet to fully admit. This is the fact that feminine sexual discontent is the most potent of missiles, loitering nearby every marriage. Eventually, a twist in events could crash a marriage into oblivion soon after the woman conceives how to end the misery via self-help. Evidently, the woman, frankly, is not asking for a heavy-duty task for the man to match up to and possibly surpass her sexual response and desire. However, this is where a definite but untapped understanding is placed by nature. This book will try as far as possible to expose this known yet idling knowledge. It's an absolute fact every man could use to create sexual satisfaction in his home. Using the method, a man could effortlessly and repeatedly make his spouse attain between 10 and as far as 14 orgasms in multiple successions, before his first orgasm. Besides, this is a unique fit that an average man would bring about without an iota of exhaustion. It is a fit anyone will carry out, devoid of products meant to boost sexuality, in whichever form. Thus, it is necessary to congratulate whoever obtained a copy of this book, From Adam to Eve, God's Pathway to a Successful Marriage. Without a doubt, the book will illustrate exactly how a man could improve on his sexuality far beyond his mostly reserved sensual fantasy. From the man, meanwhile, the only requirement is for him to understand simple, easy-to-follow steps. The use of a special product or skill is not required. If no additional capability is required, and women are repeatedly taken to the peak of sexual excitement using the mostly desired biological tool, easily then, they'll be pulled out of sexual passivity. Ultimately, an improved feminine input will result in mutual sexual joy for the couple. Therefore, according to the Society for the Scientific Study of Sexuality, SSSS, more couples will tend to be happier. Visibly then, fewer marriages will, midway, smash against the rock. As a result, it is necessary to urge every man to study the method outlined in this book. Even in the first attempt, it would be observed that the technique is not intricate, and categorically, the woman would observe and most likely, commend the change. The impression that a man could make a woman attain up to 14 orgasms in a series, before he would climax the first one, sounds too flawless to be true. Recorded in this book is a process that could be practiced by any couple, regardless of social, cultural, and religious background. It's an idea that's independent of age, or the anxiety within a marriage. Additionally, the issue about body or genital dimensions will become irrelevant, and absolutely, couples would be willing to recommend this book. Meanwhile, it is necessary here to quickly say that the expressions used in, and the arrangement of this book is definitely not perfect. The author isn't a native speaker of the English language and unfortunately, lacks training on any literary-related profession. So, keen interest, broad attention and tolerance would be vital for anyone to extract the idea herein described. However, as anyone reads through, there's a guarantee that the idea would emerge. Along with the author, simply turn the pages. To start with, it is necessary to know that the woman is naturally endowed to be diligent, ingenious, and of high integrity, Proverbs 31 verses 10 to 30. Deliberately, she was made by God to perform a crucial role. However, as enormous as this responsibility is, the woman will ask for nothing in return except 5 basic concepts. The first 2 will be found in a regularly avoided Bible verse. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Proverbs 31:31, KJV. Here, the Bible is revealing 2 golden rules for marital success. There are 5 of these crucial guidelines. These 2 are the basis of feminine skepticism before, while dating and through marriage. For obvious reasons, 4 of these guidelines would be discussed very briefly. This brevity will provide ample room for the 5th rule to be woven into the contents of this book. This 5th rule, being the rule that'll insistently regenerate mental vitality, would keep the woman working tirelessly for compliments obtainable from any other rule, all through her marriage. Fairly devoid of difficulty, whoever has read the first book titled, The Manly Man, How to Fill Your Relationship with Optimal Excitement, would have dug up this 5th golden rule. It is the nub of infidelity in most marriages and therefore, the reason for which practicable scheme must be uncovered. Certainly, mere observations will prove that the first 4 rules are the basis of most of other marriage guidebooks. However, it is worthy to note that not one of these 5 golden rules must be detached, as they are equally significant. Covertly, every man that goes into marriage has marital success as his aim, making the 5 rules inevitable masculine inputs. They'll make marriages last until the very last second of couples' existence and, effortlessly. Without reservation, every married man is here invited onto further pages, explore burrows dug by the author on each sheet, to help string out the fifth golden rule.